To the Casey Anthony trial underway now in Florida. As you know, it's been going on for a few weeks now. Casey Anthony on trial for the murder of her toddler child, Kaylee. It's a dreadful case. It's been very, very tough to listen to for the jury and for anybody tuning in. Remember, we cover it live extensively on Studio B at 3 Eastern every day with Shepard Smith. It's a tough trial, but it's an important one, obviously, given what is at stake. I'm joined now here in our Los Angeles studio by Donald Schweitzer, criminal defense attorney. Donald, thanks for being here. I think if you've been watching it as a layperson, somebody who knows absolutely nothing about the law, as I do, you would say it's a slam dunk. She's guilty. Is it a slam dunk?
No trial is a slam dunk. The prosecution has to be worried at this point that the jurors could be sympathetic. And this line of witnesses that they've called this past week were scientific type of experts, and all of them were pretty good. I have to admit that some jurors in this case could be swayed by the scientific evidence, and it might be just enough.
And they only need one, after all.
That's right, and it might be just enough to give them a reason to vote not guilty.
How do you take? There's been a lot of criticism, though, of Jose Baez, who's Casey Anthony's defense attorney, for not running a good show here. Even some suggestions that he's deliberately setting it up for a mistrial, ineffective counsel, I believe it would be called. Do you agree with that, or is he doing a decent job?
I think that he made a huge blunder at the beginning of the case, but this past week I think
the blunder being when he put forward an alternative, which was that Kaylee died in the swimming pool. Why was that a blunder?
Because he created a scenario that only Casey could tell the story. He's forcing his own client on the stand, and she's a pathological liar. She can't keep her story straight, and the prosecution could make huge points if she takes the stand. So he's made some huge blunders, and he might be making one right now, because he's about to put her mother on the stand. And let me say that unless he keeps her testimony in a very limited scope, if he opens it up, the prosecution could ask some common sense questions like, why is it that your husband just learned of the evidence at the beginning of this trial? Why are you sitting next to him if he's lying? I mean, there's so many common sense questions that could be asked. This could be a huge turning point for the prosecution.
So Casey's mother is going to be on the stand today, we believe?
Yes, and let me just say this. If they just stopped right now, with the evidence they have, they may have a chance. But when they start bringing in family members and recalling them and putting them on the stand subject to cross-examination, this could be the end. We should hear a drum roll right now, because this is where the trial is starting to get exciting. If you haven't been watching it, watch it now.
Yeah, we've been in the sort of forensic woods all this week with all of these people talking about insects, talking about the smell of death, talking about leaf decomposition and the way that the plants may have grown around Kaylee Anthony's decomposing body where it was found there. But now we get to the meat of it with the family members. And this, you say, will decide which way this jury goes?
These are high-risk stakes. Thus far, whoever's been put on the stand by the defense has been low risk. I mean, you can't go wrong with putting an expert on the stand and saying, I differ with the opinions. But when you start bringing in people that could contradict your client's statements so easily, it's high risk. And unless they've just done a brilliant job of preparing these witnesses, I think that you may see just a turning point today that is going to be telling of what this
and presumably we could see the awful scene of an entire family melting down and tearing each other apart in this. I mean, more victims in this case, if you like, because we had that bombshell dropped by Jose Baez at the beginning, not just the, oh, she died in the pool, but that Casey behaved in this bizarre fashion, not reporting her child missing for the 31 days because she was abused by her father. Another thing, totally out of the blue. What did you make of that?
I think that, again, Jose Baez made a huge blunder. It really shows of his inexperience. I'm watching the trial, and I think that his presentation is good, but his theories are bad, and the way he's conducted the trial thus far is second-rate. I don't think that he's trying to set himself up to be an incompetent counsel. No attorney does that, okay? And I don't think that that would be the case, even if on appeal. But he's made a situation that he's just going to have to pray that he gets lucky today, and if he calls his his client to the stand that the jurors are sympathetic. They're certainly not going to believe him. They're not going to believe the story in spite of all the statements that have been made by Casey with regard to the nanny, her lying to the police about her employment. All of those things are just real telling. And let me just say this, that the prosecution needs to get in and out of this case. They can't dwell too long in the defense. They've made a really strong case with regard to these prior statements. The scientific is the part that evidence is the part that hurts them, and they need to get in and out and just make a real strong closing argument. And the closing arguments are going to be very interesting because that's where I think that you're going to see one side or the other carrying the day.